Remember our cue for coming back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I do normally go faster because if you hear it, I should expect you guys to be ready to go. You guys did an excellent job with that last time. I really enjoyed working with you. I was telling everybody about how great these two classes were, just so you all know. So thank you. So we are sticking with the same standard or learning target. We're still going to be working on informative text, examining the topic, and how we can share that information clearly. So we worked through these success criteria a little bit last week. We didn't get as far really with that last one, but you worked on that throughout the week with your teacher. And so now we're moving into our next set of success criteria, the actual writing of the essay. So the part you missed with me was the planning, but that's what your teachers worked on with you, or the teachers that were here. All right, so the first success criteria for today, and this may be the only one we get to, depending on how we go. Can you guys read that first one in red up there? Go ahead.
I can write an introduction that includes books, addresses, prompts, main ideas.
And you'll notice I underlined those 3 letters. What do those 3 letters spell? Ham. So if you've been learning that, ham gets you writing that introduction. Right? Rinaldo, you need to turn this way so you can see, honey. Thank you. All right, so we're going to be looking at hooks, addressing the prompt, and the main ideas. The second success criteria, which we may not get to today, but I'm going to be hopeful and still talk about it because I want you to know, is about the body paragraph, which we talked about. You're going to have to write more than one. Each one will need these things. I can write a body paragraph with which things? Read those words with me. You're just starting here. I can write a body paragraph with transitions. And what do you have to do with the evidence? Okay. Elaboration in my own words. Remember, that's what makes it so special. That's what makes it yours. If all you do is copy text, you're just copying text. That doesn't make it your writing. That makes it copy text. And all of you are capable. So you will be able to do this. You might already be able to do this, and we just want to find out how to make it even a little bit better. Okay? So that's what we're going to be working on today. So everybody should have their prompt from last time. All right, I have mine up here. Sorry, to pick up all my papers in the other room. So what we did first, what you're going to do first, always, so we're going to go back to it. Let's read that prompt. Let's everybody read it together, just that first sentence. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, and we came up with a question that we wrote on the top of every source. Take a look at that question and read that to yourself. Don't read it out loud. Read that question that's on the top of your source. That helped you think through every single page as you were reading. Right? Now, you should have planned out some ideas. I know we didn't get to do that together. I kind of have a blank planning outline. That's that yellow paper you're going to get. So, your ideas, I'm not talking about just specific text. I'm talking about those general ideas. Thumbs up if you got to do that. You got to do your planning sheet. Fantastic. So, I want you to turn with your partner and share what things you have for main ideas based on reading the source. I'm not doing that part with you right now. Talk to your partner. What main ideas did you get? I'm going to be calling on some of you to share. What main ideas did you get? And what was the government? So let's put creative laws. Try to figure out how to want to fix that, and maybe what we want to focus on with that. Yeah, it can be government. Know how to work? you get any main ideas? What did they talk about? Specific idea. All right, let's bring it back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I heard some main ideas. I want you to share some of your main ideas, and we're going to decide if they're really main ideas or is that really evidence to support a main idea. Because we want to be careful that if in main ideas we talk about wolves, wolves wasn't the main idea of all the passages. Wolf could be an example that we use, but we got to think about main ideas as kind of being bigger ideas. All right, so the whole idea is how can people help endangered animals? We want to clump ideas together. So that's why we do normally tell you to have text evidence first. I can show you the text. I mean, you guys have different ones than me. I had pulled a few that zoos keep some animals safe. So I said paragraph 3. You don't have to write these. I'm just showing you mine. Laws protect animals and habitats. That's paragraph 4. Nature preserves. They protect animals. Scientists study. They find the problem and fix. And I kind of just put some little notes there. And I'm going to give you that quick reminder. The yellow sheet is not for writing your essay. You should not be writing a full essay on the yellow sheet. The yellow sheet is for planning out your essay. Okay, it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. If you've planned it a different way, your teacher showed you, or something makes sense to you, that's fine. But we're not writing an entire essay and then copying it in our test book. Okay, we're getting the ideas here, and then we're going to create the essay in the booklet, or we're going to do it on paper today. Just a reminder, okay? Because we can't tell you that once you have the test in your hand, but we can tell you now. All right? Don't write the entire essay. I don't want to see whole introductions on the yellow paper. That's not a good use of your time. Because remember, do you remember how much time you have? 120 minutes, 2 hours. Yep. Goes by quick. All right, who has a main idea that they want to share? What did you guys, can you share the one you had? I talked to you and you had one.
The way laws help endangered animals.
Okay, so she has one main idea. Hey, front table. What did she say? Yeah, what did she say? You have no idea. Please listen and be respectful to your classmates. All of you. Yes, one more time so they can hear you.
Ways the law help endangered animals.
Okay, so her main idea is ways laws help. Why did you pick that?
Well,
Do you have a reason? I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
I'll put the reason.
Okay, I just want to know. I want you to explain. Why did you pick ways laws help endangered?
it was shown in paragraph 4. It was in
Paragraph 4
Yep,
or source 1.
Okay, so in source 1, they talked about that. And also in the other sources, they mention laws to help the wolves and laws to help the panthers. So you see laws, Reynaldo, throughout the passages. So is laws a good main idea? Could be a great one. If you have that or something like that, I would definitely use that. What else? What other main ideas could you find? What other threads can you see among the sources? Y'all had time to talk. What'd you find out? And if it's not exact, we'll find a way to make it, okay?
Humans can help.
Okay, and specifically, what kind, did it talk about any specific kind of humans or not? Or what they do? Okay, so he has humans helping. That could be one. Humans help, I'm going to shorten this, endangered animals. So he could say that they make laws, so they could go together. But he also mentioned something else. Did you say something about the zoos, right? Okay, so there's places, scientists and people at the zoo, they study the animals. Okay, so scientists, I think I would have learned my lesson on this pencil. Study animals, and it could be at a zoo. What other places did they talk about studying animals? Not sticking out to you? Out in the wild? Did they go out in the wild and study the animals? I'm just putting some examples for us so we know. In the zoo, in the wild.
If they study the animals in the wild, wouldn't they also be capturing them so they can take them to the zoo?
Yeah, so they also talked about in captivity. They studied some of the animals that were captive.
Extinct in the wild.
They did talk about that. Captivity. Anything else? Any other main ideas you might have come up with from your evidence? How laws can help, how humans can help. Scientists are studying. Anybody have something different? You kind of have similar things to that. You guys similar? Okay, so that goes with the laws. I see some of you in your main idea section put some specific things, and it's not a problem. That'll help you with your text. But if you talked about the Endangered Species Act, that's really a piece of text evidence that supports the laws. So I'm going to shorten that. I'm just showing you, this is my text evidence. Gustavo, what paragraph was that from, or what source? Paragraph 4? So like he wrote Endangered Species Act. Really, that's a text evidence for the laws. Okay, so we don't want to say that's the main idea because that's only in one of the sources. We want to kind of get general ideas. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for our main ideas. So those are the topics that we're going to maybe write about. Is there anything I'm missing? I don't want to miss something that you guys shared. That kind of cover it for you? Did you see anything different when we were looking with them from that? I just want to make sure, because sometimes they don't want to talk out. All right, so now we're going to get into that writing part. I'm showing you this. I'm not giving you this right now, but I want you to think about, it has the parts of an effective essay right here. Introduction. What else? What else?
Conclusion.
Look what it said in the writing on our prompt. What did it say in the writing? Be sure to include
Information from the paragraph as support.
the passages as support. That's going to be in your body. And a conclusion. So to have an effective essay, you need all of these parts. So we're going to start with the introduction. And we have that on our success criteria. The hook, to introduce the topic. Addressing the prompt, that's the controlling idea. So we have that, addresses prompt. And then the main idea, introduce the main ideas that we're going to write about in the paragraphs. Okay? So what's the first thing we want to write? The hook. The hook happens to be a little bit hard for some people. Sometimes it's like, how do I get started? Do you ever feel like that?
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I do? Well, I already know what I might be writing about. I kind of have my main ideas here. Going to be writing about these things. So what are some ways you can do a hook? Your teachers might have shown you some. I'm going to show you a couple examples, and then I'm going to want you to try to come up with one with a partner. So one way to do this could be to explain the topic. So they're kind of talking about endangered animals. They are animals that may be on the brink of extinction. When animals become extinct, like dinosaurs, there are none of them left. It is important for people to do whatever they can to help these threatened animals survive. Those 3 sentences is the hook. They haven't even touched the addressing the prompt necessarily and the main ideas. Okay, so we want to be thinking about how could we use those definitions. And you guys did that. If you remember here, we kind of boxed some words we might want to use. Extinct, threatened. You guys said extinct in the wild. Maybe you want to use those ideas to create your hook. You could do that. Another way to start could be an interesting fact. So this is a fact that they actually got from the text. A long time ago, many panthers roamed all over the South, but now only about 100 may be surviving in Florida. Without some help from people, the Florida panther is in danger of becoming extinct. They took a specific fact or an interesting fact to get the reader interested. Remember, the hook is to get the reader interested. They say hooked, right? You know, like when you go fishing, you've got a hook to hook the fish. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to hook your reader. All right? This one is a little bit longer than I would probably do a hook for you guys, but a short narrative. You could tell like a little story if you had a personal experience with an extinct animal. Maybe you were at the beach when the sea turtles were laying eggs, and we talked about that might be background that you have. Okay, you could write a little story about that. That we got the cars to turn their lights off so that the turtles would turn around and go back to the sea. Okay, you could do a little story to get started. The other one that's on here, and I'm going to show it to you, but I'm going to caution you, is a question. So they wrote a very nice question. It does not start with "did you know?" Do not start with "did you know?" That may have worked in first grade, but on fifth grade, they're not looking for that. They're looking for more mature questions, right? Because you're about to go to sixth grade. So here's their question. If humans are the cause of animals becoming endangered, shouldn't they be responsible for making sure they don't become extinct? Okay, so it's a very specific question that really makes you want to read the text. All right, so I want you to think about your main ideas and what you read. How might you get me interested in reading your paper? Or Ms. Conley, or Ms. Garzaloni, or Mr. Lopez? What could you write that's going to make us really want to read your essay that you're writing, this hook? Think first. Think first. Nobody should be talking yet. You're thinking if you need to close your eyes, think about what we give you some ideas. What could you do? You can do one of those ideas. All right, so now you have your partner. I want the short hair person to go first and share what they think they might include in their hook. Then the long-haired person, and then I want you guys to come up with a hook together. Okay? See if you can put it into a hook that will get us all interested. Go ahead. Short hair first. Okay, there's 2 people in a partnership, not 4. So you guys need to split so you can discuss. Yes, thank you.
See, there's so many
Thank you.
are not just supposed to tell me how you want to do it, but you're supposed to come up with the hook for this passage that we're going to be writing about. So go ahead and spend 2 minutes writing down what your hook is. And then we're going to go over, we'll come up with a team. Write it down.
What would you write that? You sound like you're about to just stop writing. Why are you writing that? I don't think you should write that. I don't think you should actually write that.
That makes sense. 1 more minute writing that hook on the line paper.
To make sure everything
But I feel like she would know what I do because it's but I feel like she would already know what to pay. So she I thought take up the deck. Like I'm not wearing it.
Where's your hook? Where's your hook?
I need a burn. I'm a burn.
Just the hook.
I'm just gonna type.
I
just can't get over the
stay within our pocket.
I broke my
Don't read it out loud. Shut up. Here's what I'm
circle everywhere. I don't art. I don't art. Just don't stupid. I feel like that. My dad said look, it's weird. If he's really somewhere, it's like, oh, actually, that's nice. No, I'm not. Or like you put it yeah, you can like you sign it like and then like you hold somebody and put it in
Ladies, are you done with your host? Done with your host? All right, let's bring it back. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I wanted you to try on your own with your partner. I want you to stand up if you wrote a question. Stand up if you wrote a question. Okay? Now, I came to some of you. You can stand up because you wrote a question. You wrote a question.
Hey, you stand up. You wrote a question.
Hey. All right, if you wrote a question, your job is going to be, we're going to help you, is going to be to turn it around into a statement that makes me still want to read it. Can you tell us what we already did one here, so I'm going to give you an example. Everybody's listening, even those of you that are sitting, because some of you I helped with this as well. What was your question? What did it say?
Stand up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Nice and loud. Listen. Do you know about endangered animals and how to help them? So she's on the right track. She's talking about the topic, but we want it to be a 5th grade statement or a 5th grade question. I gave you a 5th grade question. It had lots of those words. You guys can sit now while we listen. There's no need to talk. She's going to read you her revised question. All right, so we turned it into a statement. What did we turn it into?
Animals are endangered of
Okay? Animals are endangered or becoming extinct, and there are many ways you can help them. Did she kind of say the same thing as her question? Mm-hmm. Yes, but now she has it in a statement. That still makes me want to say, hey, what's she going to write about? All right? So I know you've learned the question a lot, but I'd like you in the next few weeks to try to use something that's not a question. So if you have a question, I want you to try and turn it around into a statement. Okay? Because this is a strategy that gets used too much. If you use the question every time, it starts to get kind of boring. And writing shouldn't be boring. All right? If you write from your heart and pull, it's not boring. All right? So if you have a question, if you have a question, we want to try and turn it around. Okay? Do I give me time for that now, or? Okay. If you don't have a question, raise your hand. Can you guys not? I'm going to split this partnership up. Can you tell me what yours is? Can you share? We have somebody sharing their hook. Go ahead. Okay, so she took one of the facts from the text. You can do that. What if you get a passage that you've never heard anything about in your life? Pull something from there. She's probably heard of endangered animals. I know she likes to read a lot. You've probably heard of this. But she still was able to pull a fact, and then we're going to get into addressing the prompt. She's going to tie that to the prompt. What about over here? James and your partner, what did you guys have? Nice and loud.
What we put is that some animals are endangered and are about to go extinct, and we need to help them so that they don't go extinct.
Okay? So he kind of took what maybe some of you wrote as a question, and I think you guys wanted to do a question first, right? But they turned it into a statement. So that's a way to get the reader interested out without just saying, did you know, or how can you? We don't always want to start like that if we're going to do a question. So if you have a question, I want you to, on your own, go ahead and try to write it into a statement instead of a question. I'm going to give you 1 minute. All right, so you guys had a question, so what is it?
I have one question. Have you seen the endangered refugee list is on the rise? Many animals are on the endangered list.
I think that's enough. I would stop this. Because now we're gonna talk about, we're gonna address with that, I would be okay with it.
Okay. Look at hers. No,
But you look at hers, look at hers, then right there it's different.
look at her. I written mine.
No, not I.
I love the way she wrote it. No, at the bottom, she said, why am I writing about
Not I'm writing this essay. Who else had a question?
Like, you just read it and you're like, wait, why are you writing about Did it sound good in your head? The printer will just go Are you okay with it? Did I overheat?
All right, let's bring it back now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, yikes. So I saw some really great ideas, questions turned into statements. So I want you to think about that. When you want to write it as a question, how can I write it as a statement? Can you tell me what your guys' question was? What was your question? Yep. It wasn't a bad question. It just wasn't very strong to start. So what did you have? Okay, so they had a good idea. Would you ever help an endangered animal? Okay, but that is one of those kind of basic questions. So I asked, how could you turn that into a statement? What did you guys come up with? Louder. Endangered animals are in need of humans' help. Now I want to read her paper to find out how humans can help. Where if it says, how can you help? I'm kind of like, eh. Okay, so you want to be more assertive. You know, like when you write an opinion, you state your opinion. You're kind of doing that with informative. You're stating, here's what I'm going to talk about. Come read with me. Come follow along. Okay? And we want to leave the text talk off, especially off the introduction, but the whole thing. We don't want text talk. We're not talking to our friends. And we have to be careful with what we're putting. So some people had some background knowledge. That's great. It doesn't belong in the introduction if it doesn't relate to specifically endangered animals. Okay? That where you might want to use it as your elaboration later on. Okay? Let's at least get the next sentence. We've got the hook. Can I use somebody's hook? Hopefully somebody can share their hook with me.
Okay.
All right, will you share your hook so I can write it? You can just read it to me. Yep.
It says, some animals are endangered and about to go extinct, and we need to help them so they don't go extinct.
Some animals are endangered and I'm going to shorten it a little. Need our help to not go extinct. Does that still kind of say what you guys said? I was just trying to shorten it a little.
Yeah.
My pencil's out. Throw Miss Phillips's. All right, so that next piece, we've done the hook. A lot of time on that. But we want you to write a good hook because that will make that reader bring them right in. The next thing we need to do is address the prompt. All right? So addressing the prompt is where we talk about that question. So what was our question again? So we want to turn that into a sentence that addresses the prompt. So some people are endangered and need our help to not go extinct. Now we want to address the prompt in the next sentence. So you guys need to write that one. Okay, you're going to write, why is this idea important? Why is people helping endangered animals important? Or if it was something else, if you were writing about a different topic, why is that important? So you're writing about why is it important for, and we kind of, this group kind of did that a little in their hook, so they're going to have to come up with a different type of sentence for their next part. Okay? You can talk with your partner for about a minute, and then I'm going to ask everybody to write their next sentence to address the prompt. Alright, write that second sentence where you're addressing the prompt. You've had time to talk, now you write on your own. How are you going to address that prompt? How are you going to help Okay, but we'll talk about that.
By not using their skin as a rug.
That's nice.
You know how they use like how humans use their skin, the animals as like rugs and stuff, and like spices.
How are you going to address
Oh, yeah, just like this.
that one?
More like this. I'm gonna put you down.
I like your hair. Her name is Mrs. Glasgow. Mrs. Glasgow.
Excuse me? I need to ask her, like, to write about it.
Okay.
I can do it. Let me read you real quick. Who is a compliment of
You get something?
Yeah, I know. You know, let me tell you. Amaya, Debbie, is playing in the movie theater.
All right, let's bring it back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We want to just share some things we've seen because all of us adults are kind of walking around and checking. This second sentence, you really want to tie what you said in your hook to the prompt, helping endangered animals. And if you already said these things in the hook, you're going to tell me why is that important. So you could kind of explain extinct. So can you, Jace, what did you guys have for your addressing the prompt? Because they had something about something similar to this. What did you guys have? Jace, read it.
Animals are, if we don't help endangered animals, then they go extinct. Then they will go extinct and
But not extinct. We want to use a different word. What might happen?
then there'll be none alive.
Okay, so he's taking this and saying why it's important. If we don't help these animals, there's not going to be any more of them. All right, we've already used the word extinct. You don't want to use that word in every single sentence. So he's kind of explaining. Some people are starting to get to their main idea sections. They're trying to talk about how scientists are studying or being too specific. When you're addressing the prompt, we're just talking about this and keeping it kind of general. It's kind of like a funnel. Have you ever seen a funnel?
Yeah.
It starts wide and then it gets skinny. When you think of an introduction, it starts very general and then it comes in a little. And then that last sentence before we go on is where we introduce our main ideas. So this sentence is kind of that one in the middle to bring it from our hook to that general idea about the topic. The topic here is endangered animals. Okay? So what are we saying about endangered animals and helping them that we can continue our hook into the writing. I've seen some really good ones. Who can share one? Lila, did you guys come up with something? You were a little, because they were one that went a little specific, so what did you come up with?
If we don't help them,
Can you say it louder? I can't hear, I'm sorry.
if we don't help them, then we be
Okay, if we don't help endangered animals, so she's getting a little bit more specific. If we don't help endangered animals, and instead of saying extinct, because I already have that in my first sentence, there will be many animals that no longer exist. Does that mean the same thing?
No. Yes.
Yeah. They don't exist, extinct, those are kind of the same. So that's that piece that you're trying to take. And some of us, our first sentence kind of addressed the prompt a little bit. Do you agree? Because we talked about animals, endangered, needing help. So it's kind of like some of you did that, and that's okay. It can have that thread. The next piece that you're going to write is to introduce your main ideas. So you should be looking at your planning sheet. And if you don't have any main ideas, you're going to have to use ours that we came up with as a class. So these are the three things that I think we can talk about. How laws help endangered animals, how humans help, or do we want to say humans as part of that loss?
It can be part of
It can be. So if I decide this is part of this law, or I'm sorry, part of this, I'm only going to have two main ideas. I'm going to cross that one. So my two main ideas are going to be about how laws help endangered animals and how scientists study endangered animals. Okay? So my next sentence is which is where a lot of you are wanting to go, is going to be me telling the things I'm going to talk about. But I'm not going to say in this essay I'm going to talk about. No. We have to say it really naturally. If I came up to you and said, "Hey, did you know, I'm going to talk about the animals, so the endangered animals, or I'm going to talk about those ideas." It needs to be, I guess, more natural sounding. Because if you say, in my essay, I'm going to, I already know you're writing an essay. That's your whole job, right? Your mission. Write the essay. So I'm going to just introduce those two ideas here with I'm going to talk about some of the ways people can help animals is by, sorry, I can't read it. But we have to turn it into a sentence. Some ways to help endangered animals are to make laws and what? And let the scientists study animals. So I want you to look at yours, decide if you have two or three main ideas, and you're going to write that sentence. I will write mine with your guys' help. Sorry, I'm trying to make it so you can see both papers. There we go. So some ways, is it humans or people? People help endangered animals are by, I can't just say ways laws help. Just because it's my notes doesn't mean I just plop it in. It's got to make sense. Or what did you say? Somebody told me. By making laws or creating, you could say either. By making laws to protect animals. And we need to put that into a way. How could that make? Letting the scientists. I like that. Thanks, Jace, because I was really stuck. And by letting scientists study endangered animals, like, and their habitats or something like that, because that's what they talked about, right? So you guys need to write your last sentence on your own. Your sentence that transitions you out of your introduction into your essay. So I'm introducing the ideas I'm going to talk about. You can use a version of mine, but you don't have to. You might be able to say it a lot nicer than me. Y'all are smarter than me. Okay, so write that about your two main ideas. So Lyle, this is where you're going to want to talk about that. You start to write it in. No, do this. Try to do this one on your own. See what you can do, because you have your main ideas, or you're going to use the ones we came up with together. Okay, you may use mine. I'll let you do that.
It's easy. Did you see
She said what?
You should be finishing your main idea sentence. And what else?
I got in there. I supposed to see the Charlotte. I was I don't have like them on my forehead. I know that Alfred it's so
All right, go ahead and come back with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. You guys are awesome. All right, so we looked at that. I want you to look at that success criteria. That first one, the only one we're really going to get to today. I can write an introduction. Everybody has some part of an introduction right in front of them. So I want you to think about what parts were easy for you to include. Do you have a hook? If you do, you're mentally checking that. Did you address the prompt? If you did, you're mentally checking that. Main ideas. I haven't seen everybody's yet, but you need to see. Did I introduce the main ideas I'm going to talk about? So your teachers will probably be conferencing with you and helping you, and then they're going to help you move into the body paragraphs throughout the rest of the week. So if you've got 2 ideas, which is what we have, I'm going to have 2 body paragraphs and a conclusion. All right, so you want to continue working to build and keep your ideas related to what you started with. Okay, that's why you put them there, so that I know, oh wait, I don't want to talk about this. I didn't write that in my introduction. Okay? So I want to thank you guys for having me. I had a lot of fun, but you guys really tired me out, man. Your teachers are so amazing, because you guys are, whew. You got lots of good questions.